Series champion's family saying today that Bush had been hospitalized with a severe illness before dying. No cause of death was given. Back on May 10th, Bush had asked for a doctor to meet him after a race in New York at Watkins Glen.
Can somebody try to find Phil Heisel? He's the Hendrick doctor guy. Tell him I need him after the race.
The married father of two won more races across NASCAR's 3 national series than any other driver in history.
Oh no, not
Powerful
Carl
moment
Busch.
just days ago in Dover, after winning what would be his last race, Bush reflecting on his remarkable career.
Why do these moments?
Was he the son of George W. or HW?
The last one is.
Me and my dad are huge NASCAR fans.
Broken by the loss.
Just completely shook.
Busch,
Oh,
a once in a generation
damn.
rare talent.
I'm sorry for your loss. Actually,
And
sorry,
with the
I was
tributes
joking
already
too much.
pouring in from Kyle Busch's fellow NASCAR
Joke too
drivers,
close
all
to
of
the
them
sun.
sending their love and support to his family during this incredibly difficult time and expressing their shock at this sudden passing.
And our thoughts are
Yeah, that sucks. How did he die? Did they say how he died? It was just like they said it was a sudden death, right? They didn't say anything specifically.
For us, we appreciate it. Now to the 45 million Americans expected to travel this Memorial Day weekend.
I didn't hear any of the
Today, likely
jokes.
the busiest day in the air, and already there are problems. Major disruptions at New York's LaGuardia Airport after a sinkhole.
You sassy with my
closure
jokes, I
of
know.
The airport's 2 runways, and the weather.
Somebody
is
got mad at me
heavy
earlier.
rain causing flash flooding, showing travel throughout the eastern half.
They're like,
of the
your
country,
sassy
causing no
gaslighting doesn't
problems
work
there.
on me.
Senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg with the forecast in just a moment. But first, ABC's Will Reeve is at LaGuardia Airport.
Okay,
Tonight,
random
the Memorial Day
person
travel
with
rush
a
now
rose
underway.
as their
Around 45 million
PFP.
Americans projected to hit the roads and skies for the holiday. The FAA saying it expects today to be the busiest day of the weekend at the nation's airports,
Yeah,
with
see?
more than 54,000 flights scheduled. At New York's LaGuardia, that sinkhole on the taxiway disrupting flights for a
Pneumonia?
second straight day. One of the airport's 2 runways closed as
severe illness. Do we think it's Tim Richards severe illness type of thing? Yeah, kind of weird. So is the U.S. just going to pretend Iran didn't happen while they pillaged Cuba? Yes, exactly. LaGuardia sinkhole somehow Zoran's fault. Well, it's because he's digging the sinkholes, man. Yeah, they showed the guy in the hantavirus being carted off in a bubble.
crews perform urgent repairs. More than
Oh, yeah.
450 flights
Yeah,
delayed
maybe it
here
was-
today.
maybe it was
More
Kyle.
than 50 canceled altogether.
That runway behind me was the only one operational here at LaGuardia Airport, which really slowed things down as more people take to the skies for Memorial Day weekend.
This morning, Michael Simmons trying to figure out what to do next after his flight got canceled.
All flights are booked. They're all sold out. I've even attempted to go to another airport, and unfortunately to no avail.
And severe weather compounding those travel woes in the nation's
Hey, we're so
largest
lame we
city
indicted a
Wednesday.
90-year-old
Buses
man.
driving through waters several inches deep, water cascading down subway stairwells. That weather forcing air traffic controllers at Newark Liberty International to tell inbound aircraft the airport had no space.
The tower just called us and said they cannot take any more airplanes. They are in gridlock tonight.
And traffic delays in Los Angeles near LAX after a gas line was ruptured Wednesday night.
And Whit, here at LaGuardia, as that
Damn, everything
sinkhole
sucks.
continues to impact flights, officials now say they hope to get that affected runway there reopened before flight operations begin tomorrow morning. Whit.
If only
And
we
they're gonna
had
need
like
it. We'll
some
resource.
sort of we have like, what was that movie, Planes and Automobiles and something else. I just can't think of what another means of travel might be that would be logical that other countries have, where they just how can privatization fix this? Man, that would be kind of cool if we had like a third means of like traveling, but I guess we'll never figure it out, guys. I don't know. We just gotta put all of our eggs in these 2 baskets. Well, we need are flying cars. Yeah, okay. Combine both efforts. Yes. That run on even more gas than normal cars. What if we just traveled via fucking Shahed drone? And it dropped you off directly into your house by crashing into it. That'll fix things. The fourth method flaps arms really fast to fly. I think that might work. I think we're on to something, guys. We're brainstorming here. Yeah. You know, just every, like, you could attach like 3 people to like a Reaper drone. Like, because we got plenty of those apparently. Like it's Six Flags or something, right? And like you're like strapped in, and then like giant paper airplanes. Hell yeah. And then like once it reaches your destination, it just like chucks you, like, you know, like a fucking, like Super Mario, like when you swoop down. Mario 64. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Heck yeah. We'll figure it out. All right. Yeah. It's a good thing there's not like a whole system of rails that, you know, have things that go across the nation already. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Let's bring in ABC's senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg. And Lee, this holiday weekend looking like a washout in some places.
Unfortunately, Whit, it's not a
Which one Maduro is in? I haven't even heard anything about Maduro, man. I guess I haven't really been looking also.
Here in the east, you know, we were 92 degrees here in
New
New York
City. We're definitely gonna use the Maduro carbon copy the Maduro plan and go kidnap Castro though. You know that's coming, like if not this weekend, next weekend for sure.
We're 59 and drizzle right now. Let's start out with the big getaway day.
Oh,
tomorrow.
weather.
It's definitely best
the world
in
weather.
the west, but we'll see areas of heavy rain from the Gulf Coast to the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic, Dakotas into western Minnesota. Severe weather in the southern plains, Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and a flood watch.
Well, not really the world weather, because this country down here doesn't count,
through the holiday
and then this one up here
York,
doesn't count either.
Locally up to a half foot of rain. That would be over the south, 1 to 3 inches into
the
north.
World weather shows the United States.
And in the northeast,
this is the world news, okay?
Heat, temperatures well
this
below
is all the
normal,
news you need right here. World
Memorial
news.
Day does have the most upside. We might get back to 70 right here in New York and up to Boston. Whit.
All right.
How dare you ask
Lee
for
Goldberg,
more?
Our thanks to you. Now to the growing Ebola outbreak, and officials defending the decision to bar an Air France passenger from entering the United States, forcing the jet to divert to Canada. And tonight we're learning another American doctor who may have been exposed to Ebola has been flown to quarantine
this is Ebola.
in Prague.
I got it.
Steve Osunsami reporting from the CDC tonight.
They put him in a fucking
what should have been a smooth trip from Paris to Detroit turned into
Ebola
panic
ex
halfway through
Hunter,
the flight on Air France.
The captain came on the announcement system and said that we were being diverted to Montreal Airport.
Authorities were telling the pilots that they couldn't land in America because one of their passengers was from the Democratic Republic of Congo, the new Ebola hot zone.
The flight attendants all had masks on, which no one had had on prior to that announcement. So it was really concerning, like, what is going on here?
The plane continued on to Detroit Wednesday evening without that passenger, but other people on the flight say they're not sure who it was and worry the rest of them may have been exposed. Canadian health authorities tonight say that the passenger from the Congo was showing no symptoms and was unlikely to spread the virus. This strain of Ebola, a disease that can cause a person to bleed to death, has no vaccine or effective treatment and has already killed nearly 150 people in Africa. A missionary doctor from Virginia, seen here in a plastic bubble on his way to Germany, is still fighting the disease this evening. In a statement, he says, "Before I was evacuated, I was feeling really concerned I wasn't going to make it. And now I'm cautiously optimistic." And now another American missionary doctor who may have been exposed has been flown to quarantine in the Czech Republic. The U.S. is now denying entry to anyone without a U.S. passport who has recently traveled through these affected regions. And any American who is coming home from these same places.
Oh, and you can get into the U.S. without a U.S. passport. Yeah, well, if you didn't have a U.S. passport, anyway. Sounds like Canada's fucked, yeah.
Is now required to fly into Washington Dulles Airport. Well, they will be screened by the CDC. Whit?
All right, Steve, thank you for that. Now to the stunning decision in the criminal case against a former assistant principal. Prosecutors had said she failed to act on warnings that a 6-year-old had a gun in his backpack. The child then shooting and severely wounding his teacher. Here's ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, a dramatic conclusion to a case that shocked the nation.
It's agreed upon by all.
A former assistant principal in tears after a judge dismissed all criminal charges against her stemming from the 2023 shooting of a teacher by a 6-year-old student.
The court is
Yeah, somehow it's not xenophobia, exactly.
Opinion that this is not a crime.
Ebony Parker was facing child abuse charges after a boy shot and wounded his first-grade teacher, Abby Zerwerner, with a gun he brought to school in his backpack. Prosecutors allege that Parker failed to act and to follow school protocol after staffers raised concerns that the student had a weapon.
There was only one person in the school that day that had both the authority to act and the knowledge of an ongoing crisis. And that person, you'll see, was Dr. Parker.
The wounded teacher testifying earlier this week.
He was holding a gun, the student, and it was pointed right at me, and then I was shot.
The assistant principal's defense attorney today arguing potentially mistakes were made, but that her actions did not amount to a crime.
Her actions in the end were not criminal. It was just, at the most, it was a lapse of judgment.
With the assistant principal was facing 8 felony counts, 1 for each bullet in that child's gun. But the judge held that the principal's actions did not constitute a crime under Virginia law. The boy's mother already convicted in this case. Whit?
Pierre Thomas reporting tonight. To Washington now.
The boy's mother already convicted in the case. Can you convict somebody of a crime twice? 2 different people of the same crime? I thought you couldn't do that.
For President Trump's $1.8 billion fund of taxpayer money that could give payouts to political allies who claim they were targeted by the Biden administration. Now a growing number of Republicans on Capitol Hill are raising objections. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, Senate Republicans in open revolt over President Trump's new taxpayer fund to reward allies who claim they were persecuted by the Biden Justice Department. A group that could include the rioters who stormed the Capitol and attacked police officers on January 6th.
These people don't deserve restitution. Many of them deserve to be in prison. This is just stupid on stilts.
Republicans demanding answers, or they won't approve more funding for the president's immigration crackdown. Today, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche scrambled to Capitol Hill.
What questions do you have for Todd Blanche about this weaponization?
I just wanted him to explain it to us. We don't have any details.
Blanche even suggesting in this fact sheet that senators could claim money from the fund themselves. But sources tell us the meeting backfired spectacularly. Some Republican senators screaming at the acting attorney general, saying the president's fund could cost them the midterms. As things went downhill, Senate Republican leader John Thune abruptly canceling the planned immigration vote, sending everyone home for a week.
Y'all have a good week, guys.
Republicans were already struggling to justify the
it's going to be interesting if they hold strong,
president's request for $1 billion in taxpayer money for his ballroom.
There's no architectural plans. There is no environmentals. There's no engineering. There's no sense of when we ask, how did it happen to cost exactly $1 billion? I just don't get it.
Trump insists the project is being paid for entirely by private donations, but says he needs $1 billion from Congress for security upgrades.
Just a cool billion,
Senate Republican. I don't know. I really don't know. I can tell you.
It started at 200 million. I remember that. And then it was like 250, and then like 400, and then 500. Now it's $1 billion?
Right.
And the president today also spent time talking about his new triumphal arch to be built.
Hold on, did they show the guy? What's going on here? What's this guy doing? Look at this. Look at this fucking Audi, dude. Look like a giant boob. Making the deep state deepers expensive? Yeah, they're gonna build the fucking, the MPreg at the Oval Office. Yeah, I mean they're building. I mean they were like, oh yeah, well there's gonna be a bunker underneath. It's more than just the ballroom, BAAL, ballroom. So yeah, they're making a whole military bunker and everything, and they're like, yeah, and it's gonna be, you can fly drones off the roof. We're gonna be able to, you know, hide under the building, and it's gonna have bulletproof glass and shit on that belly button. That's the new Diet Coke button. He just goes poop right there. A fucking Diet Coke comes out somewhere. Actually, no, there's the Diet Coke button right there. Y'all can see my mouse. Yeah, y'all can see my mouse. Yeah, just poop. Yeah, I want to push it. See what happens. Yeah, they're gonna make the windows are gonna be. Although, like, why would you have windows and then make them bulletproof? Like, you expect to get assassinated? Also, by the time it's done, he's not even gonna fucking be there. So what the fuck do you mean he needs a ballroom? Get the fuck out of here.
And with the president today also spent time talking about his new triumphal arch to be built near Arlington National Cemetery. Today, a federal
like these things won't be done by like his fourth year.
The plan. Trump was asked if he also needs congressional approval. He said, quote, "No, we don't. We don't need anything from Congress."
I'm pretty sure you
Mary
do.
Bruce at the White House, thank you. Tonight, an abrupt reprieve for a death row prisoner subjected to a botched execution. Tennessee halted the lethal injection of Tony Carruthers after his executioners could not find a vein. Carruthers was convicted of 3 1994 murders. The governor says the state will not try again to execute Carruthers for at least a year. Next tonight, a critical test of the biggest and most powerful rocket ever built. Elon Musk's Starship has been delayed as the billionaire's company prepares to go public, and what could be the largest IPO
yeah,
ever,
they're going to go public.
that could make Musk the world's first trillionaire. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, the high-stakes test flight of Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship, the world's most powerful rocket, calls
Strap
off
Elon
late
to
today.
the rocket. Did you guys see The Boys?
From a launch.
This is the new and
he
improved
wanted to be an
version of the
astronaut.
gigantic
To send him into space.
408-foot-tall Starship with major upgrades, including better engines. Musk says Starship will eventually carry up to 100 people to the moon and Mars. NASA hoping to use Starship to land astronauts on the lunar surface in 2028.
It'll be the one that puts humans back on the moon. It'll be the ones that put the first blueprints and then city
Don't
on
got
Mars.
Amazon. I didn't see The Boys. Only the chuds whining about Homelander showing himself to be a coward. I mean, he was powerless, so yeah.
In this explosion.
Whoops.
Starship, a huge part of SpaceX's future, which Musk is taking public in what could be the biggest stock offering in history, which could make him the world's first trillionaire.
Yeah, vampire quarters under a vampire
Starship
wall.
is designed to be fully reusable. Wait, this is a critical moment for Elon Musk and SpaceX as the company moves closer to launching missions to the moon. Wit.
Stephanie Ramos, our thanks to you. Tonight, a
Yeah,
former
like the
Minnesota
whole like The
nonprofit-
Boys has been the same like theme for since they started going in that direction. It's been like 3 or 4 seasons at least. But it was an inevitable conclusion, in my opinion, that that's the direction they were going to go in. If you didn't see it, but yeah. Yeah, so they're delaying the launch before to after when they go public. Got it. Yeah, conservatives have no media literacy. Exactly. You think some Star Trek is some conservative politics promoter back in the day? Isn't everybody on the ship like? Isn't it like a commune basically in Star Trek?
Leader sentenced to nearly 42 years in prison. Amy Bach was convicted of illegally receiving $250 million in federal funds.
The libertarian
to feed
masterpiece.
underprivileged children. Her lawyers arguing for a 3-year sentence.
Basically space communism, right? Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Described the state as a hub of illegal activity. Prosecutors have charged 78 people. 60 have pleaded guilty or have been convicted in the scandal. When we come back, Waymo temporarily suspends service in Atlanta when one of the vehicles drives into floodwaters. The stunning video and what the company is saying tonight. And new footage of the moment an LA fire engine overturned rolling into a nearby office building. What we're learning about the crash. Also, a
I think that was
record-breaking day
local.
on Mount
That was
Everest,
DFW.
how history was made on the world's tallest peak.
That's where I
Plus,
saw
why
it.
one
This is
Little
all
League
world news,
umpire is
guys.
going viral with millions celebrating his energy on the field.
That's
Next
unnecessary,
night, Waymo
dude.
service temporarily suspended in Atlanta on Wednesday when at least one of the autonomous vehicles became stuck in floodwaters. Video here shows the car driving into a flooded road during heavy rain and stalling out. No passengers were inside the car at the time. Waymo released a statement saying, quote, "Safety is Waymo's top priority, both for our riders and everyone we share the road with." Now to an investigation into the moment an LA fire engine overturned on Tuesday night. New footage shows a first engine weaving through traffic just before a nearby SUV moves forward.
They lost control.
Leaves space for a second engine, causing it to veer out of control. You see right there, striking a parked car.
Do these cars need gas?
Crashing into a building. 2 firefighters in the vehicle were treated for minor injuries.
It was funded by Federation taxpayers.
When we come back, the incredible record set at the top of the world and what the hurricane forecast says about the upcoming season. To the index now, history has been made on Mount Everest. A record number of climbers, 274, scaled the world's tallest peak on Wednesday. It's the highest number ever to do so from the Nepali side in a single day. The previous record was 223. NOAA has released their outlook for the upcoming Atlantic hurricane season, which runs June 1st through November 30th, predicting below average tropical activity. The agency is currently predicting a total of 8 to 14 named storms, with 3 to 6 forecast to become hurricanes. Still ahead, a little league
wasn't last year like the least amount of hurricanes that we've had?
The energy he brings to the game and getting millions of fans. Finally tonight, the Little League umpire making headlines for his spirit on the field.
World news.
He's the Little League umpire going viral on
Nothing else going on. Nothing else going on in the world. Just, you know.
With his
all of this is pretty much U.S. news, by the way.
Fans across the country can't get enough of 18-year-old Sawyer Sparks from Bakersfield, California.
He's like chasing kids.
Yeah, man. All right, I'm gonna skip. We're gonna have a massive El Nino. Oh man, that's Spanish for the Nino. All right, NBC News. This is yesterday, I believe. Yeah. The U.S. is the entire world. A Justice Department indicts former Cuban leader Raul Castro.
Today, we are announcing an indictment charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
Now? This is now. We gotta do this. We gotta do this now. It was like 30 years ago. Todd Blanche doing whatever it is Trump says to do.
Mr. Castro and the others are charged with additional crimes as well, including destruction of aircraft and 4 individual counts of murder. The indictment was returned by a grand jury sitting in this district in Miami on April 23rd, 2026, and was unsealed today. For nearly 30 years, the families of 4 murdered Americans.
Conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals?
For justice. On February, this is a story all too familiar.
All too familiar, what?
1996.
1996?
2 civilian aircraft operated by Brothers to the Rescue were shot down over international waters by military aircraft from Cuba. 4 men were killed. Carlos Costa.
Yeah, don't look at what the U.S. is currently doing to fishing boats in Venezuela.
Mario
in the Caribbean, yeah.
And Pablo Morales. They were unarmed civilians and were flying.
Yeah, we're literally blowing up unarmed civilians, one right after the other, in fucking fishing boats. Or like smuggling boats.
Raul Castro and 5 co-defendants participated in a conspiracy that ended with Cuban military aircraft firing missiles at those civilian planes and killing 4 Americans. Those are the allegations returned.
I mean, we're blowing somebody up.
My message today is clear.
Yeah, these 4 men sound like feds, yeah.
President Trump does not and will not forget its citizens.
I didn't know this was the actual freaking announcement.
I want to say that we also do not forget the families, the loved ones, and the friends who have carried grief and heartache for 30 years. For the first time in nearly 70 years, senior leadership of the Cuban regime has been charged in this country, in the United States of America, for acts of violence resulting in the deaths of American citizens. Nations and their leaders cannot be permitted to target Americans, kill them, and not face accountability. President Trump is committed to
these were like former Cuban nationals, right? Or like people that like deflected from Cuba.
No matter what title you hold, and in this case, no matter how much time
that were flying over Cuba.
I want to thank, and everybody in this room should thank.
Yeah, what about U.S. citizens killed by Israel? That happens a lot more often, actually.
Who worked on this matter? It includes the intelligence community,
especially in the West Bank,
state law enforcement partners.
But yeah, we don't care about that. We only care about, you know, this nation that we've been choking out for like the last 60 years, and now are just going full throttle on. Basically has no military, no way of even having like
myself and the
oil.
And other leadership are here and not in Washington, D.C. to announce this indictment. The community here, you all, understands the history of the Cuban regime better than anyone in America. Many families here know the cost of oppression. I've heard stories over the past week and past months, every one of them heartbreaking. They know that the pain caused by the regime did not stop at the island's shores. And today's indictment, while it does not bring back the murdered victims, it makes a statement. The United States government has not forgotten these innocent men who were shot out of the sky. And as in every criminal case, the defendants are presumed innocent.
What were they doing that they were shot out of the sky?
By a jury of their peers. But today, the Department of Justice has taken an important step and brought this indictment.
We thank you for watching, and remember.
Yeah, well, why did the Cuban government shoot down an American plane back in Let's see.
February 24th, 1996.
Keep up.
3 small Cessna airplanes take off near Miami. One pilot tells Havana's control tower they're heading south. The pilot is warned. Cuba scrambles fighter jets, shooting down 2 of the Cessnas and killing 3 Americans and 1 U.S. permanent
So they were warned not to go that way.
The planes violated its airspace, but the planes were unarmed and on a humanitarian mission, according to a congressional
they were just doing a humanitarian mission, guys. They just wanted to drop pamphlets or whatever and spread the and just small beans killed for no reason. Clearly, it's not like they were violating the airspace or any. Oh, they were actually violating the airspace. Okay, they were warned and they were told not to go that direction. Okay, all right. Well,
Clinton called the incident a flagrant violation of international law.
It is wrong, and the United States will not tolerate it.
Now, the Trump administration is renewing the push for accountability, targeting Cuba's 94-year-old former authoritarian president, Raul
Authoritarian
Castro,
president.
To 2 U.S. officials. He is the younger brother of Fidel Castro, the late leader of Cuba's 1959 communist revolution, which led to decades of tension with the United States.
Yeah, they just wanted to bring humanitarian resources to the cocaine manufacturing rebels. Yeah, just spread a little dissent amongst the population. Fund get some arms or whatever, to their groups. What's wrong with that? I'm doing this to finish what Bubba started. His good friend.
The downed planes were part of a Cuban-American exile group called Brothers to the Rescue.
Oh, so they were exiles, okay.
Credited with helping save over 10,000 lives. But the group had also penetrated Cuban airspace at least twice, dropping pro-democracy leaflets. When the planes were shot down in 1996,
So they were spreading
Castro was in charge of
propaganda. Got
Cuba's
it. Yeah.
armed forces, and Fidel Castro told Time magazine later that year that his brother was part of the chain of command that decided to target the planes. The Trump administration's approach to Cuba resembles what happened in Venezuela. Earlier this year, the U.S. apprehended then-leader Nicolas Maduro in a daring raid in Caracas. He was indicted on charges including narco-terrorism and has pleaded not guilty.
Does the Cuban regime have to look at it differently now than they would have before Nicolas Maduro was seized?
Yes, absolutely. Because again, there had been a precedent for this in Panama. I think that this indictment could mean two things.
Who's this guy?
The talks are progressing, and that this is, but that they need slightly more pressure to get to the next step. It could also mean that the talks have broken down after that CIA visit.
Jesse Kirsch, NBC News, Miami.
I'm sorry, who was that guy? Hold on. Can you show his name? This guy just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know who the fuck he is. They don't even show his name or nothing. Who the fuck's this guy? What? I'm supposed to just believe whatever the fuck he's telling me? Anybody know who this guy is? Hold on, let me see. What was this on? This was on NBC News Now. Okay, that was an interview with that guy. Let's see if I can remember his face here for a second. Do some reverse lookup here. He has a blazer, so he's totally official. Obviously, he's very smart. He has a, if he has a blazer on. Let's see. Todd Blanche on several times. Okay, crazy. Let's see. Is he still on here? Anywhere? Where's this guy at? It had to be an interview on here, right? No? Fuck. Well, I gotta believe him. He's dressed up, man. I don't know. Like, obviously, he wouldn't lie to me. The news can't bring on some guys that have like their own, agenda or anything, right? There's no way. There's no way they would do that. Yeah, anyways, give me some more information on this. Oh, yeah.
Very at levels that few people, a lot of people have suffered very at levels that few people would understand, and I think
levels people have never seen before.
Miami,
yes,
and certainly beyond Miami, people that came there that were decimated, whose families were ruined, appreciate what the Attorney General just did today and was just doing now. Is just watching
the acting Attorney General.
So we have Cuba on our mind. It's not going to be like the biggest thing we've ever done, but I will tell you, to a lot of people, it's going to be one of the most important. They've been looking for this moment for 65 years. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to, in the meantime, we're going to have to help them out. They have no way of living. They have no food.
Well, why is
They
that?
have no electricity. They have no.
That's crazy.
energy at all.
Why don't they have any oil or electricity? That's
Cuban friends in Miami, mostly in Miami and Florida, and they're unbelievable people. They're unbelievable entrepreneurs.
It's almost like there's somebody preventing them from getting these things.
If they want to go back, maybe they'll invest. We'll see what happens. But we're freeing up Cuba.
Mr. President, should we expect any escalation here, or should they expect anything? Yes.
No, you won't. There won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart. It's a mess, and they've sort of lost control. They've really lost control of Cuba.
I wonder what's going on. Like, why don't they have any food, or medical supplies, or gas and oil? Is there some natural phenomenon that's going on that's preventing that stuff from being delivered to them? Because it really seems like the deliveries have stopped. I don't know who could be what. There must be hurricanes that are surrounding Cuba, and that's why, like, you know, nobody can. I'm sure it's because Cuba's naturally just poor and desolate of any sort. Yeah, I guess they're just poor. I don't know. It's just shit happens. I don't know. It's weird. All right. Anybody else want to chime in here? Here's not U.S. news.
Moving on now, tensions between the U.S. and Cuba hit a record low after America indicted 94-year-old former Cuban president Raul Castro on charges carrying a potential death penalty, even though he's currently in Cuba.
Yeah, how do people still buy this stuff? It feels so 1960. It really does.
That Cuba accepted its offer of $100
Cold War. The Cold War propaganda is drilled so hard into our heads, and I'll say that as a millennial, and you know it rolls downhill. But like, even older generations, it's been drilled into their heads even fucking harder, dude. Like that shit is just permanently fucking stamped in there. Cold War era propaganda, you know, like just the whole idea of you know, it's the fucking Cubans, man. It's the Russians and the Chinese and everybody. They're all the commies are coming for us, brother. They're gonna steal your toothbrush. Like it's just all Cold War era propaganda, yeah. Because it feels better than having to accept your government is actually evil, yeah. Because then you'd feel compelled to actually do something about it instead of just ignoring or just complaining, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, to acknowledge that Cuba suffers because of a U.S. blockade that's been going on since the 60s, and has been, was relaxed, like, in the Obama administration, and then was instantly, like, reinstated with further sanctions, by the Trump administration, and then, like, Biden administration didn't really do much. They lifted the sanctions on the final day of Biden's administration, which, you know, Trump immediately reversed the next day. Yeah, I wonder why this nation's getting choked out. It's kind of weird.
Aid. Now, what are these charges? Let's first understand against Castro. The U.S. Department of Justice has accused him of masterminding the 1996 shooting down of 2 planes operated by humanitarian group Brothers to the Rescue. 4 Americans were killed after Cuban military jets reportedly fired air-to-air missiles at the aircraft, destroying them without warning. If convicted in this case, he, along with 5 others who have been accused, can even be sentenced to life in prison or death. President Donald Trump, who's repeatedly threatened military action against
Cuba, this had to happen now. Why?
As a very big moment, but he's ruled out the possibility of any escalation.
There won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart. It's a mess. And they've sort of lost control. They've really lost control of Cuba.
Now, amid this, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has claimed that Cuba has accepted the American offer of a humanitarian aid. This is yet to be confirmed by Havana at the moment. At the same time, Rubio has stressed that the United States is facing a national security threat.
Are we offended that the Cubans have not accepted our $100 million? Well, they say they've accepted it. We'll see if that means it. Because here's the thing. We're not going to do humanitarian aid that falls into the hands of their military company that they have.
Earlier, remember, Marco Rubio had directly addressed the people of Cuba in Spanish. Rubio, who was born to Cuban immigrants, urged people to reject their current government and demand a free market economy. He blamed the dire energy crisis in the island nation on alleged loot by business conglomerate GAZA, which is reportedly controlled by the Cuban armed forces.
The real reason you don't have electricity, fuel or food is because those who control your country have plundered billions of dollars.
Why does this feel like when Netanyahu speaks English to talk to the people of Iran?
But nothing has been used to help the people. In the US, we are ready to open a new chapter in the relationship between our people and our countries. And currently,
also, Also, hey man, if they don't have power, if they don't have electricity, how are they going to watch this video? Like, how are you getting the message across? Or is this speech actually intended for us here in the United States so that we accept what's happening here and we're like, oh yeah, well, of course, this needs to happen, you know? These people are suffering.
Standing in the way of a better future are those who control your country.
Now, is the United States planning a Venezuela-like operation to capture Castro on Cuban soil? Giving a very strong hint in this direction, acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche stressed that the former
Propaganda for the Miami Cuban diaspora, yes.
Another way if he doesn't arrive in the U.S. on his own. On the other hand, Cuban President Miguel Bermudez slammed America over Castro's indictment. He said, and I quote him here, "This is a political maneuver devoid of any legal foundation aimed solely at padding the fabricated dossier they used to justify the folly of a military aggression against Cuba." Meanwhile, China has come out in Cuba's defense amid all of this. Beijing has emphasized that it firmly opposes repeated threats by the United States and its unilateral sanctions. It expressed support for Cuba in safeguarding its sovereignty and dignity.
The U.S. should stop wielding the stick of sanctions and judicial measures against Cuba and stop resorting to threats of force at every turn.
Well, the mood on the streets of Havana remains defiant as well, with people condemning the indictment of their former leader.
I am a revolutionary, and I love my revolution, and I do not agree with a war by the United States here in Cuba. And it's an unjust accusation. I don't support the war. It is inhumane, because there will be deaths. There will be many deaths.
Now, this latest flashpoint, remember, comes at a juncture when Cuba has run out of diesel and fuel oil. Amid this, another airline, Spain-based World to Fly, suspended its flights to Cuba owing to fuel shortage. The energy crisis is having a huge toll on the people, with multiple parts of the country facing power cuts lasting up to 22 hours a day.
Yeah, you know, classic strategy. You know, choke somebody out, make things worse substantially to where people notice it. You know, blame the local government. And then claim to be the savior. You know, we'll come in and we'll make things better. And will things be better? Sure, they'll probably be better than they are currently because, you know, we're choking them out, preventing them from receiving aid, preventing them from receiving gas, oil, you know, everything that they need to survive. And you know, those floodgates will open. Sure. Will it be better than it could have been or than it ever was? That indeed is a question. You know, when Castro and like all those guys took over, what did they do? They like eliminated slavery. They're like, you know, that's what these like Cuban diaspora guys that have money that like go in here and speak up against Cuba are like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you know, we used to have it so good in Cuba. Everything used to be fine. You know, my grandfather had a plantation with a bunch of slaves. Everything was great. I'm kind of mad about that, I guess, huh? Every time there's like somebody that's speaking out against it, you just like, you know, look into their history slightly. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. Things will get better. Things are gonna get better right now.
Hello, it's me, your favorite federal agent.
Yeah.
This is your activation code. If you are seeing this video, you love late-stage capitalism. You support India's right to defend itself. You are patriotic. You want to mob the Chinese communists. You love your insurance company. You probably use your credit card daily. You are a satisfied consumer. You glad.
Oh no! Damn it! The Mossad got me. What happened to the video? Hold on, I was receiving that very well.
Love me and I love you too.
The 4x4, hell yeah.
Sauce. Human civilization. Acceptable. No. Better than acceptable. Tom understands America now.
The brain rot, man. This is great. Yeah.
Hello, it's me.
I can't wait until we bring that delicious freedom to Cuba. Yeah. You know, I'm sure it'll be great, and then it won't be so great. We'll forget about them. Maybe if we had like US aid around the world, it would help things, but who knows? We cut that off too. Rising conflict in DRC, Sudan, and other African countries linked to Trump's gutting of U.S. aid. Study shows probably says.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Mimi Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
Did the abrupt defunding and dismantling of USAID, the decades-old U.S. humanitarian aid agency, have an impact on violence?
Aid the world, cut the U.S.?
Well, researchers sought to answer that question and examine data from across Africa. They've just published their results in the journal Science.
We can't just give all this money away, Jiggsville. We gotta have some money for ourselves, okay? I gotta be able to line my pockets and make sure that these corporations that run the place are happy. Because if they're not happy, then I'm not happy.
Abrupt withdrawal of U.S. aid led to a significant and sustained increase in conflict across Africa's most U.S. aid-dependent regions. Before it was shuttered by the Trump administration, the agency was the world's largest provider of aid, active in over 100 countries.
For more, we're joined by one of the study's authors. Austin Wright is Associate Professor of Public Policy at University of Chicago, co-author of the research article just out in Science headlined Aiding Peace or Conflict.
Right, because they're not our corporate masters, we're family. Yeah, here we're family. Don't forget that. All right.
If you could start off by explaining what you found, Professor Wright. This issue of the abrupt withdrawal of USAID led to a significant and sustained increase in conflict across Africa's most USAID-dependent regions. Can you elaborate?
Sure. So first off, thank you for having me and for amplifying the sobering findings of our research. What we were able to do is to document, information on the incidence of conflict activity, and that ranges from riots and protests to armed conflict to violence against civilians across more than 870 subregions in Africa. We're then able to link that with the location of where USAID was present and operational years ago, and leverage that information to understand the impact that the shutdown had. And indeed, as you mentioned already, what we find is a large increase in violence in the months immediately after the shutdown occurred. And unfortunately, although we're able to extend the data out only for a period of time, we have yet to find a significant reduction in those effects over time, which means they continue to accumulate even now.
Well, there have been a lot, Professor Wright, of inquiries and findings about the effects of the cuts in aid, in USAID, but in humanitarian terms, but never in the context of violence. So what prompted this investigation?
Yeah, so that's an excellent point. Prior research, including some work that was published in The Lancet, has focused on measures like excess death, the impact of the shutdown of humanitarian relief on healthcare systems, and those are certainly important dynamics. But when USAID was initially conceived by John F. Kennedy, the aim there was an alternate version of putting America first, and that was creating the sort of economic and political opportunities for the rest of the world to flourish in the image of the U.S. and that includes the building of institutions and an explicit focus on stabilization. And so our project aimed at understanding another layer of those consequences of the cut, which was the conflict environment. And unfortunately, what we found is that that shutdown had these large effects. And to help your listeners and viewers understand
who could have seen that coming?
Large effects, these are often double-digit percentage increases in the incidence, severity, and lethality of violence across Africa in the affected regions. And I would say that the only silver lining element here is that in the places where USAID's work was largely achieved, those areas were able to withstand the storm created by that shutdown. But unfortunately, in a lot of other regions, the project was not yet finished.
And did you make in the study, do you make a causal argument? In other words, that because the aid was cut, violence increased, or it was more of a correlation? In other words, the two happened to coincide, but you don't know precisely what the connection was or is.
Yes, this is I think this is a really important question, and I would encourage everyone, especially these days, to be very skeptical of the facts that are shared. And what I can assure you is that although the paper itself is only a few pages, the work that went into assessing all of the alternate mechanisms that could have been driving this effect amounts to roughly a book that most of the readers aren't going to actually see. And what we can effectively rule out are a number of potential sources of bias that could, as you point out, have led this to be a correlation rather than a causal relationship. And so I think we're rather bullish, ultimately, that what we've identified is a credible effect of the timing of the shutdown on violence.
Austin Wright, we want to thank you so much for being with us, Associate Professor of Public Policy at the University of Chicago, co-author of the research article just out in Science magazine, headlined... It
certainly doesn't seem like pulling USAID helped things. As a matter of fact, everywhere that we had USAID and pulled funding for it, pulled the program, stopped supporting the local communities, everything got worse. So if you want to say that this was rolled into what's going on in DRC and Sudan, it certainly doesn't help that we stopped USAID. He mentions that it was part of an effort to make the United States look better, right? Because these places are they're suffering, but they're exploited. Their land's exploited. The people are exploited. There's reasons for that.
Conflict, the impact of USAID cuts on
the
violence.
U.S. or the West could be
responsible
responsible for those
Democracy
things.
Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
What's next? Yeah. Thomas Massie lost yesterday. Along with being a massive propaganda arm and a way to funnel money towards sock puppet voices of imperial interests. I mean, that too, yeah. They're definitely that definitely was part of it. But at the same time, defunding USAID, not only did you increase the problems, but also you defunded your own propaganda outlet, basically, right? But yeah, whatever to save a buck, sure. I guess we'll just let people die. Fuck it. Ted Cruz says, "I wish he hadn't said this." Well, what did he say?
All right. Listen.
Oh man, I can't hear it.
I would come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv.
Got his ass.
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable.
So yeah, how much did AIPAC donate to the other guy that nobody knows who the fuck he is? Ed Galrain. It was like what, 15 million, something like that. Yeah, 15 million. Wild. Did somebody put the? This is me free scrolling dangerously on Twitter of all places. Yeah. Here is the crowd again. The crowd goes wild. 2028.
What happens in 2028? You want? You want me to run for Congress again?
So cool how lobbyists for a foreign government can buy election results. It's wild, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And who knows where they got that money from? Obviously, they just, fundraised it themselves. It's not like the U.S. gives money to Israel or anything yearly. President, okay. I don't really see that happen.
All right, well, you made a compelling argument.
Oh, hell no.
You spoke your piece, but I need a medical margarita right now. And we'll talk about it later. Thank you and God bless.
All right, yeah, always with the God bless, yes. All right, are we ready for a MAGA civil war? We went to Kentucky.
There's been a lot of talk about a civil war inside MAGA.
We've talked about some fissures that have emerged among conservatives.
It's totally blown up.
The administration's top counterterrorism official resigning in protest over President Trump's war with Iran.
Betrayed his campaign promise.
The 25th Amendment is asked.
Honestly, the president at 380 chest, fucking shut up about that shit.
That fight might be coming to a head right here in northern Kentucky.
That's the audio track.
Thomas Massey. There's something wrong with him.
Representative Thomas Massey has held this seat since 2012.
Since
despite
2012.
His loyal support for the Republican agenda.
I vote with
The voting, the voting system is still stupid and
He is in trouble.
insecurious.
Big trouble with President Trump.
Thomas Massey is a disaster for our party.
What's landed him in this fight for political survival? Two issues that have the potential to split the MAGA base. Foreign wars and the Epstein files.
It's a hoax
Yeah,
that's been
it
built
looks
up
like
way beyond proportion.
the people that want to vote for a pedophile, they're winning.
Start another war.
Because of this, Massey is now facing a Trump-endorsed challenger in his campaign for re-election.
This is a real hero, Ed Galrain.
And big money is backing up Trump's attempt to smear Massey. This is officially the most expensive U.S. House primary in history, with over $25.6 million spent on ads.
Where'd that money come from? It didn't come from regular people. It's come from billionaires. At least 95% has come from the Israeli lobby.
But this race isn't just about Massey and Trump. It's a litmus test for the future of the
Hey,
MAGA
they don't have to
coalition.
register as
So I'm
a
driving
foreign
around
agent,
Kentucky
okay? So they're actually,
to find Trump voters and ask them, what's driving their vote in
it's
this
the
primary?
American
Is it loyalty to the president,
Israel
or are the cracks in
pact.
MAGA really starting to form?
Hey, we're down making a video. We're looking to talk to voters about the,
Everybody else
Republican
that
primary
advocates
coming
for a foreign nation,
We
though,
talk
they
to
have
you
to
a little bit
register as
about
a foreign agent. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, I did.
I voted for Trump this last election.
I've got my Make America Great Again hat at home.
It's nice and refreshing to actually have someone to stand up and say, enough's enough. And so that's why I've been a Trump supporter. And why anybody opposes that, I think you're a traitor to this country.
President Trump laid out the stakes for his base in this election. Are they loyal to
Fucking
him?
straight
or not?
propaganda fucking
And
rolling
with his
around in his
popularity
fucking
lower
brain.
than ever, it might be a question of the strength of MAGA as we know it. So we asked Massey about it.
Do you view your race as a fork in the road from the MAGA base?
Well, I think the MAGA base is already split, as you point out.
Some have gone with the principles that Trump campaigned on. Some have gone with Trump, even when he's changed his mind on things like Epstein.
Okay, let's dig into Epstein first. For supporters of the president, the promise Trump and company made on this issue was clear.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
We need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
But that urgency from the campaign trail seemed to evaporate once Trump was in office.
I thought it was ridiculous.
John Wardrop voted for Trump in 2024. He told me that the whole Epstein thing was a big reason why.
I thought it was completely ridiculous for the people who had gone on the podcasts, millions and millions of views, and then turning around and calling it a hoax or that there's nothing in here. And I don't know if anyone in this country is going to get arrested for it, but there's only one guy that's really trying, and that's Thomas Massie.
Massie is the co-author of the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act, which he guided through a hostile Republican Congress to force a public release of documents related to the case.
We fought the president, the attorney general, the FBI director, the Speaker of the House, and the vice president to get this win.
But now that they're out, how do the voters feel? You think those files should have been released?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you're happy with how Massie's fought
Yes.
for that?
Yes.
Okay, the file thing, to me, that's a dead horse, okay? End of story.
I say release it and let the cards fall where they may. You know, who knows? Maybe it might implicate Mr. Trump or President Trump.
The Epstein files, they're not important to me. Everybody and their brother's on it. I mean, what are you going to do?
And I'm certain Republican and Democrat, a lot of them don't want it released because there's something in there that's going to come back and bite them in the buttocks.
Yeah. But with no new convictions following the release of the files, it seems like the only ones bit in the buttocks are the Republicans who actually followed through on Trump's own campaign promise.
He was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition.
Stupid people like Marjorie Trader Green.
I believe he's trying to protect friends and donors.
Perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history, this stupid person named Massie.
It's typical politician stuff, breaking promises that helped get you elected. But a lot of people voted for Trump because he said he wasn't like your typical politician, and they believed him when he made big promises.
At the top of my list, we'll be stopping the slide into costly and never-ending wars. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
Candidate of peace.
When Donald Trump was
Invades
campaigning,
Iran.
one of his big campaign talking points was no new wars, no foreign wars.
Yeah.
How important was that to you during the campaign?
That was really important. You're going to ask me about Iran next.
Of course. For a self-described America First peace candidate, the president's second term has been international and violent. And Republicans on the whole have been pretty silent, except for Massie. In January, U.S. military intervention in Venezuela forced a regime change.
The executive's military exercise to capture the leader of Venezuela represents one of the most blatant usurpations of congressional authority we have seen in modern times.
In February, the U.S. and Israel began military engagements in Iran.
Why are we going to war with Iran? This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war.
Massie's opposition to this war is one of the reasons why the pro-Israel lobby has spent so much against him. The United Democracy Project, a super PAC linked to AIPAC, has spent $2.6 million on anti-Massie ads, and the Republican Jewish Coalition spent $4 million. Another super PAC named MAGA Kentucky, which is backed by 3 pro-Israel mega donors, Miriam Adelson, Paul Singer, and John Paulson.
Miriam Adelson, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks?
But what do voters, who were promised no new wars, make of all of this? How important, when you were voting for him, was that campaign promise?
It was really important. Trump is actually backpedaled.
Yeah.
He's backpedaled.
How did you feel once that campaign promise was broken and now we're in Iran?
Because he's doing what VV tells him to do, and that's AIPAC, and I'm not for that.
It needed to be done for a long time.
Did you also feel that way when Trump was running, promising not to get into wars? Did you feel like, well, even though he's promising this, we do need to go to Iran?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
He's the only person that didn't kick the can down the road, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing that for 47 years.
Yeah.
Somebody had to stand up and do something.
That was important to you.
Yeah.
Now
Or
we're
hold
in
on, how many
Iran.
years did he say?
How does that land with you?
Something.
That was important to you.
They've been doing that for 47 years.
Oh, 47
Somebody had
years.
to stand up and do something.
That was important to you.
Yeah.
Now we're in Iran. How does that land with you?
I haven't got an opinion on it. It depends how it turns out.
I don't do
Conclusive,
politics.
Totally makes sense.
Representative Massey has been the most vocal Republican critic of the administration and his party, and not just on Epstein and foreign conflicts. Where the Trump administration has been pushing for immunity for pesticide manufacturers for the use of potentially cancerous chemicals, Massey has been pushing to hold those companies accountable.
They want get-out-of-court-free cards. We're not going to give it to them.
He voted against Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Well, guess what? It added $2 trillion to the debt. I said it would, and it has.
And he bucked the majority of his party by voting against an extension on legislation that allows the U.S.
Doing what now for
government to
47 years? The Islamic Revolution, I guess, is what they're. I think that's the 47-year number, right? Every time I hear 47 years, I think that's what they're talking about.
On its own citizens.
A short-term infringement of the Constitution is still an infringement of the Constitution.
When BP, the coups will continue until polling improves. And you know what? If we're not cooing a nation, we're gonna coup your votes with massive influence and dumb people. We're gonna dumb down everybody. And if that doesn't work, then we'll probably rig something in one way or another. Now, you know, it's. I would like to believe that it's them changing, you know, zeros to ones and whatnot. But a lot of the times, and I see this personally in Texas, they'll just, throw out your vote. They did it to me. They threw out my vote when I moved. Like this was in 2018, it was 2018. Like I got a letter like months later. They were like, yeah, we negated your vote because you moved. I got purged too. Yeah. So they'll just do massive efforts like that, you know, where they're like, oh, if this person doesn't qualify, actually, we're going to take that vote out there. But yeah, whenever it's against, to their detriment, they're like, oh, well, this guy's dead. Yeah. This guy died. There's no way he could be voting. Guy's actually alive. But yeah, I mean, it's voter manipulation in that method. But also, they'll run these like, scummy ads and be like, oh, this guy hates America. They'll run ads like this shit that I've been trying to get pictures of on my TV. Where are they at? Yeah. This guy votes with Trump 99% of the time. Look at him. He's wearing a cowboy hat. Of course you can trust him. You're in Texas. He's a cowboy. Yeehaw. Look at this. The other guy, he loves immigrants. Yeah, this guy opposed the border wall. Where's the other one? This guy, he banned trans perverts. That's literally what it says right there. Whatever the fuck that means. Chip Roy, he wants to impeach Trump. Look at that. He wants to impeach Trump. Can you believe that? And people are stupid enough to believe this shit. Like they'll just fucking see these commercials like drilled into their fucking head all fucking day, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the guy that loves Mexicans. I hate that guy. I'm gonna vote against him, actually. Where's the other one? Hold on, there's another one that was pretty good. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait. Is he a real conservative? Is he a real Trump conservative? Come on, he can't be he's Mecca, not MAGA. This guy loves Muslims. Look at that. He's Mecca Mays Middleton. Actually, he loves Muslims. He does not love MAGA. but they'll have enough money to where they get this shit fucking like run 24/7 on their TVs, and you got like these fucking guys that they don't have a job, they're probably retired. Retirees are actually one of the highest voting percentages. Mecha congressmen like Autobots, I guess I'd vote for that. And then that's the other thing, is people just hear words that they like, right? Damn, that reminds me, there's a new skin in the game that I want to play, and it's like a Gundam suit. It's actually kind of cool. Fuck. All right, don't make me think about that. I'll cut the stream early.
Independence. It's made him vulnerable in this primary race.
Give me somebody with a warm body to beat Massey.
Massey's primary is May 19th. He's up against
Anybody.
Ed Galrin, Trump's hand-chosen opponent.
He's a hero. He's a farmer. Hero.
He's
In a
just
way,
like me.
The election is a test of the price anyone might pay for going against Trump. Will Massey
What
be
a
punished
quote,
by voters
yeah.
for disloyalty or rewarded for his independence?
How important is it to have someone who's just loyal to Donald Trump and whatever he says versus putting a check on Donald Trump?
No, definitely putting a check. You should put a check on anybody because there shouldn't be one person to rule the country.
Okay, now, that's a fine line there too. As long as your president is taking care of the country and the people from the country, then I give him 100% support. I don't, no matter what.
So, back to the reason I came out here. Which way are these voters leaning?
Is it enough that Trump supports his opponent? Would that do it for you?
No, I don't know that would swing it one way or the other. I'll look at it.
What do you think of Thomas Massey?
I think he's good. I like what he's going for. I'll definitely vote for him.
Are you voting for Ed in this race?
Yes, I am.
And what's behind that? What makes you vote for Ed?
Well, number one, Trump's endorsing him. That helps.
I believe that Thomas Massey was MAGA before MAGA was coined phrase.
I want a clear thinker. I want somebody to make their own decision, not make a phone call. How should I vote?
So does Massey have your vote?
Massey has my vote.
I talked to a lot of voters on this trip. What I found is that while there are some cracks in the MAGA movement, we don't know where they're going to go yet. And even the people crossing the president's endorsement and voting for Massey don't see it as turning against Trump.
You want more Masseys? Yeah.
Yeah, if we get enough of them, and if maybe a few more Trumps, we can actually get stuff moving.
If that contradiction sounds confusing to you, you have to remember, voting against Trump's preferred candidate is still a big deal, even if the voters I talk to don't see it that way. Up until now, almost all of Trump's endorsed picks have won their primaries, and it's not just about the voters in the district. Politicians across the country are going to be watching the results of this race closely to find out what are the consequences for standing up to Donald Trump in 2026. Maybe that's why even Massey, the Trump-critical candidate, is campaigning on their similarities and not on their differences. Despite being the target of the president's rage and the receiving end of millions of PAC dollars spent against him,
he's cheating with the squad on the America First movement.
Massey told me he doesn't see much of a problem.
That is an AI-generated image, by the way.
I'm not running against Donald Trump. I'm running against a guy who was endorsed by Donald Trump. People recognize that, and the bulk of my voters in my polling are people who support Trump and support me. I think if I win this race, we can get the team back together. We can get the band back together.
Yeah.
It shows that you can still be for the principles that MAGA ran on.
We'll find out if that's true or not with next week's election results.
It turns out it wasn't.
But this race has got me thinking about a bigger question too. How many broken promises is too many? And which promises are the ones that matter?
Do you think if Donald Trump continues to break campaign promises, that he puts at risk the movement of people who believed?
100%. He risks people, even if he might be right on some things, feeling at least like they were lied to or even worse, betrayed.
Because broken political promises have actual costs.
How's the pain at the pump been lately?
Oh, it sucks, especially with the business we got and we're trying to start.
Oh,
we started this spring. 3 Amigos Lawn Care. It's me and my 2 brothers, and right now we're behind just because of the gas.
Yeah.
Because when we first was planning it all, the prices weren't here.
Yeah.
So I did vote for Trump, but Trump here lately, I've been kind of
The sticker
Because
was
everything
there.
he's saying ain't really happening.
Somebody took the "I did that" sticker off. Damn.
You know, I do call myself a Republican, but who knows? 5 years from now, things might change.
Fucking dumbass.
Smash like and subscribe to More Perfect Union, like Phil,
Yeah.
right here.
But yeah,
Right, Phil?
money.
And if you
money in general wins elections, and I think that was proven here with Massey's loss. The other thing that we're not talking about too much is this guy that they showed at the very beginning. Where is he? This guy. This is a blow to Tucker Carlson, in my opinion, or at least his political ambitions. Him being openly and avidly, anti-Israel, anti-AIPAC, seems to be not that great of a strategy, depending on who has the most money, which seems like AIPAC does. But we'll see. Carlson is very recognizable. I think he would, running as a Republican on a Republican ticket, he would probably pull pretty well. It depends on how much further they can drive this this schism here, with being anti-war and everything that Israel is and AIPAC is, and the massive influence that they have in American politics. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, it's not good. The United States is a prison.
There are two ways nations keep people from leaving: the North Korean model of walls, guards, and landmines, and the United States model of beliefs.
Of also
propaganda
walls, guards, and landmines.
In the U.S. is America is the greatest country on earth, and everywhere else is dangerous.
Yeah, get fucked. Yeah, look at this. He's like, these guys are bad. It's like, we wouldn't do that. We don't. The walls are meant to keep everybody out.
Neither are true. First, the U.S.
This fucking guy. What is this? What do I even pull this from?
From leaving.
I gotta watch this. I gotta see what else he says.
America is the greatest country on earth, and everywhere else is dangerous. Neither are true. First, the U.S. is 15th globally in medium wealth among major economies. That is, it's one of the poorest major economies, and it's 60th in life expectancy. It's the only G20 nation with no required paid vacation or maternity leave. Americans work 500 hours a year more than Germans, and they don't get health care unless they're rich or happen to work for the right company. American food has additives known to be dangerous and are banned in many other nations. This is far from the greatest country on earth. Americans are also told that other nations are more dangerous, but 127 nations are safer than the U.S. The U.S. is, in fact, one of the most dangerous nations. And on top of that, it imprisons more of its own people than Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. But America has freedom. But come on, what freedom?
We got freedom,
does
brother.
America have that Norway, Italy, Greece, Australia, Canada, ad nauseum doesn't have?
I got the freedom to go into debt on medical bills. I go into massive unpayable debt. That's my kind of freedom, brother. Yeah, crazy. All right. Yeah, speaking of fascism, I guess. Here's Palantir's Mastermind from Australian Broadcasting Channel.
There's a strange story about Alex Karp, the CEO of data analytics company Palantir. Well, almost every story about Alex Karp is strange, but I'm going to tell you this one. Back in 2016, Karp was interviewing a young British man named Louis who was applying for a position at Palantir. As Louis sat down in Karp's office, Karp began to recite this infamous historic speech. This is Oswald Mosley, the most famous British fascist of all time, giving a speech encouraging the British government to stay out of World War II and let the Nazis do whatever they wanted. Now, it may seem odd for the CEO of a tech company to start reciting a famous fascist speech during a job interview, but to Louis, the interviewee, it was particularly mortifying. That's because Louis's full name was Louis Mosley. Oswald Mosley, the man who gave this speech, was his grandfather. Louis was applying for this job at Palantir because, despite the fact that he wasn't a fascist and disagreed strongly with his grandfather's politics, mere association with a man once voted the worst Briton of the 20th century was enough to close a lot of professional doors for him in the UK.
All the cotton mills of India, the cotton mills of Japan, the cotton mills of China have been created by British money.
Alex Karp recited several minutes of the speech from memory. Then he got up from his desk and started doing Tai Chi moves. He keeps Tai Chi swords in his office for this kind of thing. Then he walked out of the room without saying goodbye. So, did Louis get the job?
And we are joined now in the studio by the head of Palantir in the UK, Louis Mosley.
Yep, of course he did. Now, even on the scale of Silicon Valley CEOs, that's a pretty odd sequence of events. It's one of many odd stories about Alex Karp that have come out recently. According to his biography, he decapitates cupcakes and only eats the icing. He speaks German for at least half of every day.
Das ist übrigens an uns auch, würde ich sagen, ein bisschen Deutsch.
He's obsessed with Nordic skiing and often films his quarterly revenue statements while on skis on the side of a mountain.
And one of the reasons I do this video on cross-country skiing is it's a very similar analogy. You train and train and train, and then you get to enjoy the splendor of gliding across the snow. In many ways, that's what Palantir did in the last year.
Not to mention the fact that in every interview he does, it kind of looks like it's his first time ever sitting in a chair.
Annoying each other 10 years ago. Hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago, or more.
We've been living in the world of Alex Karp for a couple of weeks now, looking at his company, Palantir, its history, and what it actually does. Last week, our landing point was basically that Palantir has created software that is genuinely useful for organizations which need to deal with lots of different data sources. Palantir breaks down silos and brings genuine efficiencies to things like intelligence gathering, supply chain logistics, military operations, and apparently increasing the popularity of cricket in continental Europe.
With Palantir as the platform for making cricket the #1 team bat and ball sport in Europe.
While lots of people are concerned that Palantir is basically Big Brother from Orwell's 1984, it's no more inherently sinister than Microsoft PowerPoint or Gmail. But the difference may be in its leadership.
And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am.
This unusual fellow who quotes 1930s British fascists at length and swings Tai Chi swords around in the office. So who is Alex Karp? What's his deal? And what happens when governments and institutions hand someone with this particular flavour of personality an incredible amount of power and influence?
You may not like me now, but you're going to agree later.
I'm Matt Bevan, and this is If You're Listening.
Palantir Part 2? I'm sure we watched Part 1.
There's a reason I started with that story about Oswald Mosley, because it's an example of how nothing is as simple as it seems with Alex Karp. He isn't able to quote fascist rhetoric at length because he's a fan of Oswald Mosley. It's because he spent a big chunk of his life studying fascism. Karp was raised in a left-wing Jewish household, and in the mid-1990s he moved to the German city of Frankfurt to get his PhD in philosophy. Frankfurt is not as random a place as it may seem for an American Jew who did not speak German, like Alex Karp, to study. It's the location of the incredibly dominant Frankfurt School of philosophical thought.
The ideas of Marcuse and the Frankfurt School have come to dominate some of the social science departments in various countries in Europe, and through them to have a continued and very important influence on the young.
Philosopher Herbert Marcuse and the other big thinkers of the Frankfurt School were primarily left-wing German Jews who actually did most of their early work in exile, having fled the Nazis.
And by the mid-30s, the key figures had all settled in the United States.
They spent their careers trying to figure out how the most technologically advanced, educated and developed country on Earth elected Adolf Hitler as Chancellor and then devolved into barbarism and collapsed entirely in less than 15 years.
What actually has gone wrong in Western civilization? That at the very height of technical progress, we see at the same time the opposite as far as human progress is concerned. Dehumanization, brutalization.
They wanted to try and stop it from happening again.
Fascism was militarily defeated. The potential for a repetition was still there.
The school's basic conclusion was that fascism was a byproduct of technological and scientific advances. Modernisation leads to bureaucracy, and that leads to treating humans as administrative units rather than people. And that led to totalitarianism and genocide.
In other words, with the progress of civilization, we will have a progress in destructiveness. And it seems to me no hypothesis can better explain what happens today than that one.
The relentless pursuit of progress and cultural dominance leads to dehumanisation, which leads to catastrophe. Noted chair-sitter Alex Karp spent years marinating in the teachings of the Frankfurt School, learning German so he could contribute to discussions, and so that he could speak to German people about their lived experience. And one family in particular made a lasting impression.
I know a family in a small village that were super nice to me and took care of me and gave me a coat, really decent, wonderful, old school family. And I talked to the father and I asked him and he was like, look, we were all Nazis.
Karp said that they were no longer Nazis when he met them, but he was deeply interested in why their ideology shifted.
And these people were became Democrats and built the German society. They were, my estimation is they were in no way, National Socialists anymore.
And he came to a conclusion that was quite different from what his mentors and professors in the Frankfurt School thought.
And one of the most important things I learned from them was, it was the fact that America and American ways of thinking made them healthier and wealthier and happier that changed how they saw the world, much more than anything else.
This was a revelation for Alex Karp. American thinking cures fascism. According to Karp, when Germany was defeated and occupied by the United States, the former Nazis became healthier and wealthier and happier, and that's what made them not want to be Nazis anymore. It was through these conversations that Karp determined that the cure for fascism isn't addressing the way that progress reduces humans to administrative units, like the Frankfurt School suggests. It's cured by being more American. He doesn't see these ideas as being contradictory. In fact, he thinks the Frankfurt School has updated its thinking recently to align more with his ideas.
The modern version of it is actually neo-Kantian and pro-American. I was particularly interested in the second phase of the Frankfurt School.
Now, it's worth pausing.
This guy's filthy rich, right?
Most historians would disagree that being more American is what cured Nazism in post-war Germany. Post-war Europe wasn't prosperous just because of American cultural dominance. It was prosperous because, thanks to the post-war alliance system, Europe went more than 25 minutes without destroying itself for the first time in about 500 years. The story of those 500 years was an endless cycle of great powers challenging each other for dominance, followed by catastrophic war. After World War II, Western Europe entered an unprecedented period of peace and economic cooperation, with a strong focus on promoting human rights. For Alex Karp, though, that was only possible because of American dominance.
I'm very culturally specific in a way that maybe, not everyone is. I think the chance of world survival goes up as America becomes stronger and more dominant.
He thinks that overwhelming American military power will cause a lasting global period of peace.
The obvious solution to war is to have the West having the strongest, most precise, deadly weapons possible so that we can minimize unnecessary, innocent deaths. And by the way, the primary way you minimize these deaths
unnecessary, innocent death. So other deaths
tax you
necessary.
He's ignoring the fact that this was the perspective of every empire that ever existed. Caesar, Napoleon, the British Empire, Emperor Palpatine. They all believed that if they became powerful enough, nobody would ever challenge them.
Yeah.
Right up until their empire all came crashing down. Karp's sure that it won't happen this time, though, and has dedicated 2 decades of his life to building one of the most powerful companies in the world, which explicitly aims to increase American military intelligence and corporate dominance through
That's
data
the plot
processing.
of most action movies. Yeah, I think that's why they included Palpatine. But also, that was like, I think that was Homelander's motivation there at the end, at least in the last season. Become the most powerful and nobody can deny you. Everybody will love you. Turns out, doesn't work that way.
It is creating a unified view.
I mean, history shows,
lots
right?
of disparate data sources, which don't otherwise make sense together.
Karp spent years of his life reading theory about fascism.
I watched Mortal Kombat 2, same plot. Plot of the boys.
Totalitarianism. He learned German so he could read about it in its native language. He thought about it a bunch and then bent his ideology into a shape that would allow him to lead a company that reduces everything from information to resources to humans to administrative units. Or, put simply,
our product is used on occasion to kill people.
In the last 3 years, Palantir has added AI to the mix, and the company has gone into hyperdrive, providing services to corporate, law enforcement, and military clients in America and in US allied countries. And Alex Karp thinks that it's all working great. In fact, better than working, he explicitly says that Palantir has played a role in stopping fascism and far-right politics in Europe.
But if you don't find the terrorists, you're going to have goose-stepping in the streets. And I got yelled at all over the world for saying our product, Palantir, has played an enormous role in Europe in stopping the
what? Goose-stepping?
You're going to have goose-stepping in the streets. And I got yelled at all over the world for
You
saying
say
our product,
youth-stepping?
Palantir, has played an enormous role in Europe in stopping the far right. Because if you protect data and stop terrorism, you get mainstream parties. If you don't protect the terrorism, you get far-right people.
Karp said that in February 2023, while Joe Biden was the US president.
It's a reference to Nazis?
At the time, the clear policy of the US government was to support moderate political parties in Europe.
Goose-stepping is how they describe this style of march. Okay, got it.
Palantir was very happy to help with both those things.
Obviously.
But then something happened.
To stop the fascism, you have to become the fascist yourself.
Which challenged Western dominance more than anything had in years. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people.
It's weird. It's almost like they didn't like being killed regularly.
A week later, Karp took...
And also being constantly surveilled. And then being assassinated from a distance.
Got a full-page ad in the New York Times, a black page with white text. Palantir stands with Israel. On Palantir's earnings call soon afterwards, he announced the company's position on the increasingly fragile state of the world.
There is no such thing anymore of being on all sides. Palantir only supplies its products to Western allies. We've never supplied our products to enemies. We proudly support the U.S. government. I am proud that we are supporting Israel in every way we can.
According to Karp's biography, the attack on Israel played a role in convincing him that Donald Trump would likely return to the US presidency. October 7th put terrorism back on the front page and made Americans feel their way of life was under threat. And as Karp says,
if you don't protect the terrorism, you get far-right people.
As a result, Karp began adjusting his worldview to fit whatever Trump's America might need from Palantir. America was about to become more right-wing. But it was still crucial for Palantir to ensure American dominance over the rest of the world. So Palantir was ready to help with whatever President Trump might need. And what he needed was this.
Under President Trump's leadership, we are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day. And President Trump is going to keep pushing to get that number up higher
Palantir has been working with the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, since 2016. But their cooperation stepped up a gear after Donald Trump's second inauguration, when they signed a contract to provide a product they called Elite.
So it is a map interface, and an ICE official will simply draw a circle or a square onto that map, and all of these small pins will appear. They'll then click onto one of those pins, and that will be a specific person, or in ICE's sort of vernacular, a target. That'll be their name, date of birth, a photo if they have it, and as you said, the address and the address confidence score.
This is Palantir doing what Palantir does best. Last week we illustrated it using marbles in jars. Lots of different bits of information gathered by different parts of the government, which previously had been impossible to find and connect with each other. With Elite, ICE could get marbles of information from, say, the Department of Motor Vehicles files, police reports, and subpoenaed social media data like location history and private messages, and build a fluid web of intelligence and surveillance.
It seems to be a tool that brings together data from all of these usually separate places and sources and brings it into a sort of all-in-one single tool that ICE can use to find neighborhoods to raid, maybe write up target lists, and eventually supervisors to approve those lists and send people out into the field.
For ICE investigators, what once required weeks of cross-checking siloed systems could now be done in hours or less. Does that mean that people's right to privacy is being abused? Well, Karp thinks not.
When people are worried about surveillance, of course there are huge dangers there. But, it's like you will have far fewer rights if America's not in the lead.
Now look, you could basically use that kind of thinking to justify pretty much anything. But it's interesting to think about this idea in the context of Alex Karp's background.
That's like basically what we did with the Patriot Act
by masked men to round up large numbers of people.
We need to monitor
and
you.
pull them into unmarked vans.
But I'm asking you just as a person, on a sort of a moral basis, as
Make
a
sure
human.
you're not a bad guy.
When you see people, young people, mothers and fathers and families getting ripped apart with the masks on, with the ICE folks, what you think of that?
Of course, but you're at this point you're abusing empathy, because I of course don't like that. Right. No one likes that. No American. This is the fairest, least bigoted, most open-minded culture in the world.
And yet,
this is what they fear.
Despite
I kind of beg to differ
effectiveness
here.
in ramping up ICE's capacity, setting quotas for deportations has led to a lot of mistakes.
Since October, courts have found more than 4,000 immigrants were detained illegally.
Many of the people arrested by ICE are being denied their constitutional rights.
A majority of the people that are detained have no criminal history and no basis for their detention. They can be transferred out of state at ICE's whim.
The number of people being arrested on the streets of American cities and towns has increased by a factor of 11. People, including American citizens, have been wrongfully deported. But as Karp says, this is what the American people voted for.
And I personally think that U.S. people, meaning citizens, have to decide by their vote what our immigration policy is going to be.
And therefore, to limit the US government's access to Palantir's technology would be undemocratic. Last year, business journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin asked Karp a pointed question.
You wrote your college thesis on fascism. There's a view, and I'm curious where you land. Do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
Of course not. I think that's stupid, honestly. And you know what? Again, you can go all day on these stuff. It's honestly idiotic. I grew up half my life in Germany. I spent time with actual fascists. I went
Personal
to
anecdotes
lots of former Nazis. This we have a democratic society, and he won in a landslide.
The key question is, does Alex Karp have a red line when it comes to Palantir's operations? Is there any request that a democratically elected president could make which he would refuse? That question has very much come to the forefront after something that happened in January this year with the AI company Anthropic and their chatbot Claude.
the US military has been pretty keen to get unrestricted access to Claude's abilities.
Anthropic wasn't exactly comfortable with this. They were worried about Claude being used for surveillance and to develop weapons.
What Anthropic was particularly concerned about was Claude being used to spy on American citizens and create fully autonomous weapons.
Leading to Anthropic's CEO deciding they wouldn't cooperate with the Pentagon.
The Pentagon's position here is simple. Anthropic is a defense contractor. They are providing a service to the US military, and the US military thinks it should have the right to use that service however it wants. It's other defense contractors, the ones who make tanks, fighter jets, ships, and missiles, don't get a say in how those things are used. Lockheed Martin can't say, actually, you can't use our F-35 fighter jet to bomb Iran. So what makes Anthropic different? Why should they get to decide what the democratically elected US government can use their service for? Anthropic's position is, well, we can't tell you what to do, but we also don't have to give you access to our product.
I think that there's no issue in Anthropic taking a stance. In fact, that should be applauded. There's no requirement for them to sell to the federal government.
Anthropic drew a red line and said, we will not help you spy on American citizens or hand over control of deadly weapons to AI. The US government said, well, in that case, we'll find someone who will. Like Anthropic's biggest competitor, OpenAI.
OpenAI, by the way, is the company the US government has just made their new AI provider.
The question that's hanging over OpenAI, and indeed Palantir, is, what is your red line? Does Alex Karp have one? In November last year, Alex Karp indicated that Palantir might.
You're asking, does our product allow for civil rights abuses, and will I intervene?
Yeah.
Our product is the hardest in the world to violate. Will I intervene? Yes.
But he doesn't think he's ever going to have to.
It is the hardest product to misuse, to take away the rights of human beings that's ever been built.
And yet, it is, at its very core, a system
As it's
that
being
reduces
used to
humans
kill people, yeah.
to administrative units, to dots on a map who can be killed by drones or scooped up by masked federal agents. Alex Karp, of all people, must know that there is a threat that that system will be abused by an authoritarian government.
Will I intervene? Yes.
But that relies on him identifying when his system is being
intervening.
abused. The trouble is, according to Karp,
Like if
America
he
is the
actually
solution
grew a
to
conscience and tried to intervene, they'd fucking murder him.
World's problems. And so long as it continues to be a democracy, whoever runs America gets to decide what America's all about. So what right does he or any private citizen have to stand in the way? I think I should do a Tai Chi move. What is a Tai Chi move?
I don't think that's actual Tai Chi move. I'm gonna disagree with you there. All right, I'm gonna cut this short.
Negotiation, I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Trump was showing off his ballroom, BAAL, just to be clear here. We talked about it earlier.
It's a very accurate name. So I'm in the middle of a negotiation. I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it comes over the wire that the Democrats want to stop Trump from further negotiations. They want to stop Trump from, if he has to, giving them another slap. They want to have a nuclear weapon. It's the Democrats. They're dumb. It's a new name. It's a very accurate name. So I'm in the middle of a negotiation. I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it comes over the wire that the Democrats want to stop Trump from further negotiations. They want to stop Trump from, if he has to.
It's so stupid.
Giving them another slap. They want to have a nuclear weapon. It's
ballroom's going great. What else I got? Oh yeah, I'll come back to this one. What was he saying? Now all these videos are broken because I've had this
ever right now is Twitter, bro.
I hate using Twitter, and I rarely use it. I really only go to go look at the news and go get some screenshots. It is now quite literally built to be hateful and built to make hateful people. And this Chud the Builder guy is quite literally a billionaire psyop. Is owned by the richest man in the world. Mind you, this guy
he's African
is a
though.
pedophile. He was begging to be on the pedophile island and didn't even get to go. He's a eugenicist.
They're like, bro, you're creeping up the girls. You can't come.
Bro. He's just a bad guy. And right now, this bad guy is winning. And he's going to keep winning. Niggas don't come together. Niggas have to say fuck race, fuck religion, fuck all of this shit. Not only because they don't matter. At the end of the day, we're just human. But because the bad guys we're going against are bad guys, bro. They're evil, pedophile, cannibals. And he owns this app, so he made sure that Chud the Builder got viral. Why? So we'll be talking about if white people can say nigga and nigger and all this fucking nonsense. Not about him, not about how he's raping, not about how he just stole billions and billions and billions of dollars from the American people. Not about how he's meddling in all of our fucking lives. So give a hand to Chud the Builder. Good boy. Good job serving your
He just had to shoot himself in the arm.
The nigger here, it's you, because you're a fucking slave. And not to mention, y'all Chud the Builder ass type of niggas, bro. Y'all pussy. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from repercussions. This is why I know y'all are rapists, because y'all just want to do, say, and act however you want to people.
I didn't realize this. Go full N-word, bro. Chainslayer 9000, by the way. This dude is he's wild.
And you don't expect them
but more often than not, he is very correct.
to do nothing. Or when they fight back, you blame them. Rapist mentality.
Chud the Builder seems to be just nothing more than the distraction, man.
It's quite literally
it's like embracing more and more of this type of behavior that you see on X. I'm gonna skip past it just because of the vulgarities, but hey, man, that's his content. My bad. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna call it there though. That's it for me tonight, guys. I'm gonna save the rest of this stuff for tomorrow, which we will go live tomorrow night. So, but yeah, that dude shot himself in the arm, and then the guy that he shot, I think they're charging him for attempted murder, right? That's the direction that's going.
Johnny's in America, takes at the wheel.
Alright guys, everybody have a good night. I will catch you guys later.
Anyone, they don't even just pretend. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on a coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. Johnny's in America. Johnny looks up at the stars. Johnny combs his hair and Johnny wants pussy and cars. Johnny's in America. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I can.